What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Real Combat, brought to you by the Scene Snobs podcast. And of course, I am your host, Mick Manhattan, back again, ready to watch a movie tonight. And I have two great guests for this very special Thanksgiving-themed episode. My first guest is George G3 from Dueling Aces podcast. How you doing today, George?
Excellent, as always, sir.
And what movie will you be bringing to the table today?
I am bringing the kicking Thanksgiving Grumpy Old Men.
All right. I like it. And my next guest from the Jack Billings Presents Haunted Apartment Complex, Michael Colby. Welcome back, Michael.
Oh, I'm ready this time.
Oh, yeah. We're excited.
I was ready last time, but the deck was stacked against me. And this time, I think I got a winner this time.
Well, what is your movie of choice tonight?
I am bringing something a little bit, maybe you're not thinking about it at Thanksgiving, but I have a personal Thanksgiving story about this movie, and it also does have a big dinner scene, and that movie is Beetlejuice.
Ooh, I dig it. Okay, everybody, so you know how this works. Real Combat is a 3-round debate show. First round is debates, second round is rebuttals, and the third round, of course, is where I hear the personal stories behind the choices, and then I choose the winner of what I'm going to watch tonight. So, without further ado,
round one, fight!
So in this first round, Mr. Michael Colby, you go first because Beetlejuice is the older movie.
All right, now I know what you're thinking. Beetlejuice is not a Thanksgiving movie. I'm going to tell you why you're wrong. This movie obviously has this big feast scene where we are just everybody sitting around the table having a nice dinner. Some fun stuff happens. Some fighting happens, just like happens in Thanksgiving. I would say that this is Tim Burton's best movie. This is a fun movie to watch anytime. And we have a stacked cast. We have Michael Keaton. We have Winona Ryder. We have Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis and Catherine O'Hara. Like, everybody you're watching in this movie is just fun. This movie, from beginning to end, it's spooky. We're still, close enough to Thanksgiving that we still want some spookiness, and you don't get any spookier than Jeffrey Jones. So I don't see why you wouldn't want to watch this. Like, you can watch this at Halloween, and then you can watch it at Thanksgiving, and then you can watch it at Christmas, and then you can watch it once a month, every other month for the rest of the year, and nobody's going to say anything, because who doesn't want to watch Beetlejuice a dozen times a year?
You know what? I can't really argue with that because it's never expressed that Beetlejuice takes place in or around Halloween at all. So
yeah,
I know a lot of people watch it at Halloween, but
it's a comedy movie with some spooky elements. But yeah, there's no trick or treating. There's also no Halloween stuff. But what there is a big fat meal where everybody sits down and has fun and fights. So I would say if this movie was set around any holiday, it's Thanksgiving.
All right, I dig it. Now, good first round from you, Michael. Now, George, you're a grumpy old man, and the floor is yours for round one. Please proceed, sir.
Grumpy Old Men is the movie that absolutely is the Thanksgiving kickoff into our full holiday swing. So Grumpy Old Men is perfect, especially taking place up in Minnesota, Wabasha specifically, where Lemon and Walter Matthau both play two grumpy old men who have grown up literally next door to each other and are pretty infamous around town for playing a lot of practical jokes on each other. There is a new widower who moves in across the street from these two gentlemen, and they proceed to try to woo her and swoon her, which is the full go of our story and the comical details that ensue with not only the practical jokes but the one-upping of each other as they both try to turn around and, as one says, take old one-eye to the optometrist. Jack Lemmon, Walter Matthau, and Margaret. Your cast is minimal but effective in this. Kevin Pollak and Daryl Hannah play each of the characters' children, and Ossie Davis plays Chuck, who is one of the main characters early on, who runs the shack that these gentlemen get all their, ice fishing materials and such from, and also has a Thanksgiving dinner with our one Fair and Margaret, and which leads into even more comedy, especially from one Burgess Meredith, who plays the grandpa and is just entertaining from start to finish with the one-liners throughout the whole movie.
I love it. I love it. It's a great choice. Grumpy Old Men is one I haven't seen in a long time, and but Beetlejuice is one I have seen recently. But I don't think you're wrong, Michael, because you can watch that quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So great choices so far. We're getting into round two. That's where each other will rebuke what the other one said in round one and try and convince me even more so why I should choose your movie. So without further ado, Michael, you're going to start us off on
Round 2. Fight.
George, I don't know you. You seem like a nice guy. But let me tell you something about Grumpy Old Men. I don't even think that Grumpy Old Men is the best movie about two grumpy old men. We have, in a world where My Fellow Americans exists, I don't know why you would want to watch Grumpy Old Men. This movie is a movie about ice fishing. We're not even talking about regular fishing where you're moving. We're talking about two old guys in a hut putting their fishing rods into a hole in the ice. Why would I want to watch that at all? There's no sexiness to this movie. It's just a couple of old guys wagging their jowls at each other. There's a Thanksgiving scene, sure, but the rest of the movie has nothing to do with anything. It's not, I don't know, maybe I'm not 200 years old, but I don't think that this movie is funny. I don't think it's entertaining. It doesn't have anybody in it that you would want to look at. I think this is an easy one. Mick, you are a smart man of good taste. You're an attractive man. You're a young man. And
flattery will get you everywhere.
I don't see, like, look at you right now. You're wearing a flannel plaid sweatshirt, like a button up, just like Alec Baldwin in Beetlejuice. You kind of look like a young Alec Baldwin as well. And why would you want to watch Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon jaw at each other for an hour and 45 minutes? It feels like it takes 2.5 hours. It's just a slow moving slog of I'm using air quotes, a comedy. I think this is a no-brainer on this one. I don't even need any more time for my rebuttal. It's just, I think this one's in the bag.
Well, hot damn. Well, first of all, I do have to address one thing, and I don't care what anybody says. Anne Margaret will always be sexy to me. So there is a element of sexiness to Grumpy Old Men, and that is Miss Anne Margaret.
Okay.
Now, granted, she's not Bye Bye Birdie Anne Margaret in this, but, whatever. I still hold on to that beautiful eyes. You are learning from Casey Plott, my friends, when you went up against him, for sure. But good rebuttal. But I see George flaring up here, and he's ready to go. And I'm gonna let him have some fun with this one. George, please proceed.
I was going to say, now that he's put the chapstick away, we can turn around and definitely focus on the Beetlejuice. Granted, yes, it is a little on the scary horror side of things. And yes, I know that that is absolutely up Nick's wheelhouse. However, this movie does, and it does have a full-blown Halloween trick-or-treat scene in it. So yes, the time frame is as of Halloween. It is not per se into the Thanksgiving. However, like you said, there is a dinner scene. Yes, there is, which turns into a creative per se instance to be at hand, and the hilarity that ensues. But however, it's lackluster when it comes to trying to force the comedy that has to ensue there, and almost pretty much wants to put me to sleep through that dinner scene. So they kind of, it's okay, but it's just not as funny as what it should be. Michael Keaton definitely takes on to the role in a much later part of the movie. And as I said, when you're wanting to deal with ghosts, you're primarily thinking more of Halloween versus Thanksgiving. You're not really thinking ghostly when it comes to getting around to your Thanksgiving kickoff and getting into your holiday mood.
Damn, you guys threw down some words tonight about each other's movies, and I'm not going to say where I was leaning on the first round, but I was leaning one way, and now I'm leaning another way on the second round. So it's all going to come down to the third round. But before we get there, I want to sit down and I want to talk to you guys about your shows. Let's start with you, George G3, host of Dueling Aces podcast. Tell me more about your show.
My show is a wide open panel of friends, and any friends and guests who are on. We've even had Gordy Gronkowski, Ricky Keeles, and primarily my local friends here in Ohio, with a lot of my friends from Michigan as well. And we got together, and I originally started this off as, hey, I wanted to give my 2 cents in on a sports take on a talk radio station, and basically got held. Being on the phone for 2 hours, being on hold is just stupid. And just to give a 20 to 30 second take of an opinion, I thought was just totally stupid. So why not turn around and have a show where everybody could voice their opinion, whether it's good or bad, whether we agree or disagree. That's what makes Dueling Aces a fun show, is we're always bantering back and forth. And the more the merrier. We have almost a solid core, what I call the core. There are almost 12 of us. And at any point in time, there can be a rotation of anywhere from 4 to 6 to 8 of us on. And we've all got different fandoms of different teams. There are, of course, some that piggyback each other, but having that nice variety of, makes a fun show, because that way it's just not, hearing the same one-sided aspect of sports. And we cover everything. I mean, anything that is sports related and sports entertainment, we will cover it. So we're just not limited to just 1 or 2 things.
All right, that's awesome, everybody. You're ready to go check out Dueling Aces, especially for sports. That's where I get my sports news. I think we've covered that in the past. And Michael Colby.
Glad to help you out.
Well, I know, I appreciate it, because I have no time to watch anything, so it's nice to hear just the highlights. But Michael Colby, tell me more about Jack Billings Presents Haunted Apartment Complex.
Jack Billings Presents Haunted Apartment Complex is like nothing else you are going to hear when you're listening to podcasts. I mean, as we all know, everybody has a podcast. This is an undisputable fact. There are so many podcasts out there, and a lot of them are great. but a lot of them are talking about the same stuff. What we do over at Jack Billings Presents Haunted Apartment Complex is we are like a half scripted, half improv comedy show about I'm not gonna get into the weeds on what we're about, but let's just say it's about sort of the backstage life of two people who are running a paranormal podcast in a haunted apartment complex, but we're getting led astray by the owner of the building, who's trying to make us believe that the apartment is not haunted, despite the fact that there are ghosts of perverts. There's ghosts of the Reading, Ohio butt stabber who went on a crime spree and stabbed everyone in town's butts. Jack's wife is a literal werewolf. We have some other creatures coming our way. The car that Jack drives is haunted. And it's just a really fun, weird show. If you're looking for something different, I can't say anymore except I promise you will never hear anything like this before. Now on the Podmoth Network, Jack Billings Presents Haunted Apartment Complex, and check us out and check out all the other shows on the Podmoth Network, a bunch of weird spooky shows.
All right, I love that. And guys, everybody check that out. It's Jack Billings Presents Haunted Apartment Complex and Dueling Aces. Check out both shows. Guys, thank you again for being here tonight. I appreciate this.
Thank you, Mick. I love being on your show. You're very fun to talk to. And I also and obviously everybody that you know is also good people and also fun to talk to.
Absolutely.
Always have a fun time on the Scene Snobs.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Again, flattery will get you everywhere.
I know. Why do you think I'm doing it?
I was going to say, he's definitely pushing hard.
Yeah, you know what? Listen, it's anybody's game still at this point. I got to hear those personal feelings about it. So we are going to get into round 3. We're going to start with you, George G3. This time,
Round 3.
what does this movie mean to you?
This movie actually, like I said, it is a solid Kickstarter for our holiday season, rolling Thanksgiving into Christmas. I am very fortunate to personally have lived long enough and early enough to enjoy both of my sets of grandparents. And this movie definitely reminds me a lot of my two grandfathers, who actually would banter back and forth with each other. And so that's why I really enjoy both this as well as the sequel to this just that much more, because of all the banter and the comedy between the two. And that really holds a true place in my heart. And that's why this movie, when it first even came out, I put both of my grandfathers together on this one and just said, yep, that's what these two guys remind me of 100%, because they both would even tell stories back and forth, and it would almost be like, hey, by the way, he goes, when you go see your grandfather later, he says, you let him know this. And then I go and relay the message, and he goes, well, next time you see that son of a, you just let him know that. And it is that kind of banter back and forth. And it's just a lot of fun. It's not a movie where you have to seriously think about anything. You're looking for the entertainment value. And Mick, like I said, I know you definitely are much more on the horror side of things, but I also know that you do appreciate the good comedies, and this is one of those comedies.
All right, I like that story a lot. That was really nice, man. That was really cool. And you pulling it. I don't know if flattery will get me as much as pulling on those heartstrings. So, Michael, I'm going to let you go now. you tell me your personal connection to Beetlejuice, and man, I gotta make a tough decision here.
This movie, obviously, I'm not going to tug on anybody's heartstrings with Beetlejuice. I've seen this movie maybe the most out of any movie I've ever seen in my life. My sister and I were obsessed with this movie when we were kids. We would watch it maybe once a day. I may have seen this movie 100 times in my life. But when you are watching Beetlejuice tonight, Mick, I want you to think of this story. And this happened to me on Thanksgiving. After dinner, you know, we had a big family, big Catholic family, big, very Catholic family when I was growing up. And we all had Thanksgiving together, and we're at my grandmother's house. And after dinner, after dessert, all the adults were hanging out in the kitchen, and all the kids decided we were going to go into the living room, and we put in the VHS tape of Beetlejuice, and it gets to the scene where Michael Keaton is in the model, and he kicks over the tree. And you know what happens after that. You know the line that he says after he says that, or after he does that. My sister and I, this is 1991, so I'm 12, my sister's 11, and this happens, and we start laughing at this. Well, my cousin, who's 5 years old at the time, sees that the older kids are laughing at this scene, walks out into the kitchen where all of the adults are sitting. All of the, again, very Catholic adults are sitting, and he yells, "Nice effing model!" And then he grabs his crotch and honks it. I have never been in more trouble than I was letting my 5-year-old cousin watch a movie that had that in it, the crotch grabbing, the swearing of a 5-year-old. I've never been in more trouble, but I've also never seen anything funnier than the looks on those adults' faces when that 5-year-old kid went into the kitchen and said that in front of 30 adults. And when you're watching this tonight and you watch that scene, I want you to picture a 12-year-old Michael Colby walking out into the kitchen with his 5-year-old cousin, and that happening. I promise you, it will make this already excellent, fun romp of a movie that much more fun. It's the best thing that's ever come out of a movie, period. Plus, you get to watch, an in their prime Alec Baldwin, an in their prime Catherine O'Hara. It's Gina Davis, gorgeous in this movie. Everybody, it's just a fun movie to watch and look at and listen to. We have a scene where there's zombies dancing in the air. You don't get that in Grumpy Old Men. You're just watching two old guys put fishing poles into a hole in the ice.
And laugh their butts off and have one-line battles left and right.
All right, you got your rounds. You're getting your extra rounds in. All right, this is a difficult choice for me to make. But on Real Combat, the thing I will be watching tonight, I think, is going to be Beetlejuice. So congratulations, Mr. Colby. George C3, you put up a hell of an argument. Chose a very good movie.
Did my best to try to. How the hell do you try to destroy Beetlejuice?
It was an uphill battle, man. That's for sure. And it's on a level all its own, And I think that, in my opinion, as wonderful as Grumpy Old Men is, we've seen it, we know it, but it is a lost and hidden gem, in my opinion. But that's Real Combat for you. You never know where it's going to go. I appreciate both of you being on tonight. Remember, everybody, to go check out Dueling Aces, and also Jack Billings presents Haunted Apartment Complex. Michael Colby, George G3, thank you so much for being on the show. I want to say thank you again, everybody, and you can check out any of our shows over on the scenesnobs.com. Links are there, and if you're interested in anything else, merch, Patreon, anything that we're doing, just listen to the credits afterwards or go to our website. Thanks again, everybody, and we will talk to you soon. Take care.
Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Mick Manhattan, the Scene Snob, and you can check out the Scene Snobs podcast live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, or you can check it out on any podcast platform or our YouTube channel anytime after that. Thank you to our Patreon supporters. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. If you guys want to join, check us out over on thescenesnobs.com. We have links for everything. The Scene Snobs merch store is open. You can check that out too. Links again on the site. Or like, follow, and subscribe on all of our social media. Again, head over to thescenesnobs.com. It's all there for you guys. Love you, and we'll talk to you guys soon.